A dramatic security camera video has captured the moment a professional security guard successfully prevented an armed robbery in broad daylight. The incident occurred as a woman stepped out of her car carrying a package. At that moment, a suspect disguised as a delivery worker approached her and suddenly pulled out a gun, attempting to carry out a robbery. Reacting instantly, the security guard moved to protect his client and fired to neutralize the threat. The attacker was struck and attempted to flee but was quickly apprehended at the scene by responding authorities. A retired police colonel in São Paulo intervened to protect his family and nearby residents after being confronted by two armed assailants. According to official reports, the former officer acted in legitimate self-defense as the suspects initiated the confrontation. During the exchange, one of the individuals involved in the attempted robbery was neutralized, while the second fled the scene, leaving behind key evidence now being used by investigators. Authorities note that the colonel's response was consistent with lawful defensive action. A bold phone store robbery was carried out by a man and a woman who appeared completely ordinary, using their harmless appearance to avoid suspicion. While the man moved toward the back of the store, the woman suddenly pulled out a gun and threatened the employees. What the suspects did not expect was the presence of a law enforcement officer at the scene. The officer immediately acted to stop the crime. Although he was injured during the confrontation, his response disrupted the robbery and forced the suspects to flee. Shortly afterward, police arrested one of the attackers and seized the vehicle used in the crime. Authorities are continuing the search for the female suspect and others who may have been involved. A dramatic burglary attempt in Los Angeles ended in chaos after a quick-thinking mother took action to protect her family. According to police, the woman received a panicked phone call from her children, who reported that intruders were trying to break into their home. The mother rushed to the scene and spotted a suspected getaway vehicle nearby. In a decisive move, she used her Mercedes G-Wagon to ram the suspect's car, disrupting their escape. A dramatic incident unfolded in the Morumbi district of São Paulo after a ride-hailing driver courageously confronted armed robbers in broad daylight. According to reports, the driver was approached by the suspects and quickly took advantage of his armored vehicle, using it to pursue and ram the robber's motorcycle in an attempt to stop their escape. During the chaotic getaway, the suspects opened fire, but the driver was unharmed thanks to the vehicle's reinforced glass. The street collision that followed drew an immediate police response. Officers arrested one suspect at the scene, while others managed to flee. Authorities have launched an active search for the remaining accomplices. Parana, Brazil. An unusual and almost surreal act of self-defense has drawn attention after a man confronted a suspected thief using an unexpected object, a chicken. Video footage shows the tense moment when the victim comes face-to-face with the suspect. Instead of panicking, the man reacts instinctively and throws the chicken toward the would-be robber, catching him completely off guard. The unconventional response disrupts the situation and forces the suspect to retreat, ending the encounter without further escalation. Although the footage is brief, the incident quickly gained attention online for its strange and oddly humorous nature. The case highlights how quick thinking and improvisation can play a role in personal safety, and proves that in moments of danger, even the most ordinary or unexpected objects can become a deterrent. A robbery attempt was thwarted on Saturday, December 20th at the Quema Dairy Store in La Ceiba, Atlanta, resulting in the arrest of 3 suspects who are scheduled to appear in court on December 26th. According to security footage, a black vehicle parked outside the store at around 4:30 p.m., remaining there for several minutes as its occupants surveyed the area. Shortly afterward, 3 individuals exited the vehicle and entered the store wearing masks, hooded jackets, and gloves. Inside, 2 of the suspects took control of the situation by disarming the security guard and directing customers and employees. Their objective was to access the reinforced financial section of the establishment. The panic button was activated, prompting a rapid response from the private security company. Upon arrival, security personnel encountered resistance, and during the intervention, both a security guard and one of the suspects were injured. The getaway vehicle briefly returned, but quickly left after observing the unfolding situation, leaving the 3 suspects inside. A courageous intervention took place on the streets of Campinas when a car driver stepped in after witnessing a motorcycle robbery. According to the footage, the driver of a black car noticed 2 suspects taking a motorcycle from its owner. Instead of ignoring the situation, he chose to follow them, helping create pressure that allowed the victim a chance to recover his property. After a pursuit lasting about 1.5 kilometers, the suspects lost control and fled the area, in escaping toward a nearby river. 3 robbery attempts were thwarted within a short period of time across São Paulo state, highlighting both the growing risks of street crime and the decisive response of law enforcement officers operating in plain clothes. In all 3 incidents, the attackers were stopped by off-duty or plainclothes security personnel, including members of the military police and the municipal guard. Authorities confirmed that the officers acted in self-defense after being confronted by armed suspects. The cases occurred in different locations, including Cotia and Itaim Bibi, with criminals targeting various valuables ranging from vehicles to luxury watches. According to official reports, the confrontations escalated quickly, forcing officers to respond with gunfire to neutralize the threats. Several suspects were injured or killed at the scenes. Those who survived were immediately taken into custody and transported to hospitals under police supervision. A failed robbery in eastern São Paulo has drawn public attention after an off-duty female security officer courageously confronted an armed suspect. According to authorities, the incident occurred while the civil guard officer was not in uniform. She noticed suspicious behavior from a young man and remained alert, preparing herself moments before he attempted to attack. During a brief struggle, the suspect fired first. The officer reacted immediately, returning fire in self-defense. The exchange forced the suspect to flee the scene with injuries. Police later identified the suspect as a 21-year-old man with an extensive criminal record. He was arrested shortly afterward at a hospital where he had sought medical treatment under police supervision. São Paulo, Brazil. Unattempted robbery at a rural gas station in São Paulo. State ended in an almost farcical failure after the suspect's escape was derailed by a series of mishaps. According to police, two men stole cash from a convenience store at the station and tried to flee on a motorcycle. Their getaway was immediately interrupted when the vehicle fell into an oil change pit located on the premises. After struggling to pull the motorcycle free, the suspects attempted to escape again. However, their bad luck continued as they soon lost control and fell into another roadside ditch. The repeated accidents left the pair unable to flee. Police officers arrived shortly afterward and arrested both suspects in the Itapetininga area without resistance. A woman was walking along the street when a man on a motorbike suddenly sped toward her, attempting to snatch her belongings. The attacker forcefully pushed her to the ground in an effort to carry out the theft. However, before he could escape, nearby residents reacted immediately. Several bystanders rushed in, restraining the suspect and stopping the assault, ultimately rescuing the woman from further harm. Two men sped in on a motorcycle, scanning the sidewalk for an easy target. In a split second, one of them jumped off, waving a gun and threatening four men who were casually chatting on the sidewalk. The plan was clear: intimidate, steal, and disappear. But they chose the wrong moment and the wrong people. What the robbers didn't expect was how quickly the situation would turn against them. Their confidence vanished as events spiraled out of control, and the attempted robbery fell apart almost immediately. What was meant to be a quick crime ended in chaos and failure. A reminder that not every target is defenseless, and not every plan works out. A tense and dangerous incident unfolded in São Paulo when a plainclothes police officer was confronted by two armed robbers while stopped on his motorcycle. According to reports, the officer was approached and threatened at gunpoint. Remaining calm, he initially pretended to surrender, a calculated move that allowed him to conceal his firearm, which was hidden at his ankle rather than at his waist. As the suspect searched him and failed to detect the weapon, the officer seized a brief opening. Taking cover behind a utility pole, he drew his firearm and fired in self-defense, managing to protect his life during the sudden confrontation. Despite the officer's decisive reaction, The suspects managed to escape the scene with both motorcycles. No serious injuries to the officer were reported. Parana, Brazil. A dramatic police pursuit in Parana state came to an end following a serious confrontation between officers and a group of burglary suspects. Authorities said 3 suspects had broken into a residence and stolen valuable property before fleeing the scene in a car. Police later located the vehicle on a highway and moved in to intercept it, triggering a tense chase. During the pursuit, the situation escalated as the suspects reportedly resisted police efforts to stop them. The confrontation ended on the roadway, where all 3 suspects were neutralized. One police officer was injured during the operation, but survived thanks to the protection of a ballistic vest. After the scene was secured, officers recovered the stolen items along. Residents have reported that the same group of young individuals previously involved in suspicious activity was seen again just minutes ago near Leicester Crescent. According to witnesses, the group appeared to be attempting another theft before quickly leaving the area. Local authorities have been notified, and residents are urged to stay alert and report any further sightings. Police are continuing their efforts to identify the individuals and prevent additional incidents. The man had just stepped into his car when he became the target of 2 criminals. They moved in quickly, surrounding the vehicle and threatening the owner with a gun, demanding money and anything of value. The situation escalated in seconds, but the driver didn't panic. Accurately reading the danger, he reacted decisively and defended himself in a way the robbers clearly did not expect. The sudden resistance disrupted their plan completely. One of the suspects was apprehended at the scene, while the second managed to flee. What was meant to be a quick robbery unraveled instantly, stopped by sharp judgment, awareness, and timely self-defense. A tense confrontation captured on video in the United Kingdom has drawn attention for its direct and uncompromising approach to dealing with bicycle theft. In the footage, the main individual confronts suspected bike thieves head-on, using firm, decisive language and a countdown to pressure them into leaving immediately. The exchange is marked by a stern warning tone, mixed with a touch of irony as the speaker references a well-known line from classic cinema. Rather than physical force, the situation is resolved through psychological pressure and clear intimidation, leaving the suspects little choice but to retreat. The video reflects a broader attitude among some members of the public, a strong, no-nonsense response to repeated property crimes.
I'm gonna give you to the count of 3 to get your lousy, lying, low-down, 4-flushing carcass out my door. 1, 2... 3. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
A dramatic attempted pickup truck theft in São Paulo state ended with the suspect subdued after underestimating his target. The incident involved a 57-year-old house painter who is also a trained jiu-jitsu practitioner. He noticed a man trying to steal his pickup truck, a vehicle he had owned and relied on for more than 25 years. Realizing the suspect was unarmed, the owner gave chase. Within moments, he caught up to the thief and applied a precise arm lock technique, restraining him on the street and preventing any escape. The robber's plan collapsed almost immediately. Not only did he fail to steal anything, but in the chaos that followed, he also ended up losing the very motorbike he arrived on. Witnesses say the suspect fled on foot, abandoning the vehicle as people nearby intervened. A robbery attempt unfolded at a local shop after a man who initially appeared to be an ordinary customer suddenly threatened the owner and demanded money. According to reports, the shop owner initially complied to avoid further danger, while the suspect moved around the store searching for valuables. During that time, the owner waited for a safe moment to respond. When an opportunity presented itself, the shop owner acted to protect himself, bringing the situation under control. The incident ended shortly afterward. A serious armed robbery in Sao Paulo has raised fresh concerns about public safety, following a violent confrontation in the Perdizes neighborhood. According to reports, an off-duty police officer and his girlfriend were ambushed by two armed suspects who staged an attack inside a parking garage, aiming to steal the officer's motorcycle. During the encounter, one of the attackers pretended to surrender before suddenly opening fire, triggering a brief but intense exchange of gunfire on the street. The suspects ultimately managed to flee the scene. Police quickly sealed off the area to collect evidence and launched an investigation to identify and locate those responsible. Medellin, Colombia. An unusual theft attempt ended abruptly when a man trying to steal a manhole cover fell into the open hole he had just exposed. Video of the incident shows the suspect lifting the heavy cover before losing his balance and dropping into the pit. The moment quickly spread online, drawing widespread attention and ironic reactions rather than sympathy. Authorities say manhole covers made of iron and concrete are often stolen for illegal resale at low prices. Despite their limited value, their removal causes significant financial losses for infrastructure agencies. A dramatic attempted robbery unfolded right outside the home of an off-duty civil police officer. As he waited for his gate to open, four suspects in a vehicle approached and threatened him with a firearm in an attempt to steal his car. Drawing on his training and preparedness, the officer reacted immediately, causing the group to retreat. During the confrontation, one of the suspects was seriously injured, while the others quickly fled the scene. Security camera footage shows a young shop owner facing a sudden robbery attempt inside his store. Instead of panicking, he remains calm and carefully assesses the situation. At the right moment, he reacts decisively, catching the robbers off guard and breaking their plan. Surprised by the resistance, the suspects abandon the robbery and flee the scene. The suspect brazenly kicked through the store's glass door and rushed inside. He went straight to the cash register, grabbing whatever he could. But the plan unraveled almost immediately. The alarm system activated as designed, sending an alert to a nearby police station. Realizing time was no longer on his side, the thief abandoned the attempt and fled the scene in panic. An attempted armed robbery in Brazil was stopped after two suspects unknowingly targeted police officers on their way to work. According to authorities, the incident occurred as a woman was getting into her car when two men on a motorcycle approached and displayed a firearm, indicating an intention to rob the occupants. The suspects were unaware that the individuals they confronted were police officers. Recognizing the immediate threat, the officers responded in self-defense. The suspects then fled the scene, abandoning the robbery attempt. During the confrontation, the officer's vehicle was struck by multiple bullets. No injuries were reported. Law enforcement agencies are now checking nearby hospitals to determine whether either suspect may have been wounded while escaping. A potential crime was quickly disrupted thanks to the presence of a CCTV and alarm system, underscoring the critical role of security technology in preventing incidents before they escalate. Video footage shows suspicious activity detected early, triggering an immediate alarm response. The system's presence alone was enough to deter further action, forcing those involved to abandon their attempt and leave the area. Security experts note that CCTV cameras and alarm systems not only help record incidents but also act as strong deterrents, significantly reducing the risk of crime. Early detection and rapid alerts can make the difference between a near miss and a serious incident. The footage serves as a clear reminder. Proactive security measures remain one of the most effective ways to protect people and property. Teresina, Brazil. A burglary attempt in Teresina took an unusual turn after a suspected thief was attacked by a household dog while trying to enter a residential property. According to residents, the intruder was bitten by the dog during the attempted break-in. Afterward, the injured suspect asked the homeowners for help and requested to be taken to a hospital, claiming he had jumped into the yard while being chased. The family, however, recognized the man as someone who had previously stolen property in the area and became suspicious of his explanation. Amid the confusion, the suspect fled the scene before police could arrive. Video footage shows the dog repeatedly blocking and chasing the intruder, preventing him from accessing the house. A robbery was swiftly prevented when a customer at the scene reacted in time and fired a shot to stop the assailant. The customer's decisive intervention protected those nearby and prevented the situation from escalating further. Authorities are investigating the incident and reviewing security footage as part of the ongoing inquiry. A group of students was walking along the street when a man on a bicycle suddenly rode up to them, demanding their phones and money. Before the situation could escalate, security personnel arrived almost instantly and apprehended the suspect on the spot. Their rapid response prevented any harm and brought the attempted robbery to an immediate end. A man armed with a handgun stormed into a store, threatening the owner and employees while demanding cash and valuables. The situation quickly became tense as the suspect tried to take control of the premises. However, he was unaware that help was already on the way. Police officers arrived promptly and intervened before the situation could escalate further. Their swift response neutralized the threat and ensured the safety of everyone inside the store. Security camera footage shows two robbers attempting to target a store, only for their plan to fall apart almost instantly. As soon as the store owner confronted them, panic set in. The pair bolted for the exit, fleeing so fast they nearly left their shoes behind, desperate to get away without looking back. The attempted robbery ended before it could even begin. Stopped by quick reaction and the robber's own fear, a tense and potentially dangerous situation unfolded when a woman and her daughter were approached by unknown individuals at the gate of their home. The group displayed aggressive behavior, surrounding the vehicle and creating an unstable and threatening atmosphere. While awaiting assistance from security services, the mother remained calm and alert, activating the emergency alarm and carefully assessing the situation. As it became clear that the risk was increasing and help was not immediately arriving, she chose to act. Making a swift and decisive decision, the woman reversed the vehicle and escaped the area, ensuring the safety of herself and her daughter. A tense armed robbery attempt unfolded at a liquor store in western Sao Paulo after two suspects stormed the premises and attempted to intimidate those inside. According to authorities, an off-duty police officer noticed suspicious behavior and reacted quickly, leading to a direct confrontation that caused the suspects to abandon their plan. The suspects fled the scene moments later, leaving behind a vehicle fitted with false license plates. Inside the car, police recovered rope restraints and a personal mobile phone, which are now being analyzed as part of the investigation. Investigators are reviewing surveillance footage from the store in nearby areas to identify the suspects and determine the role of a truck seen in the vicinity during the incident. Authorities say the case highlights the importance of vigilance and rapid response in preventing armed robberies from escalating. Security camera footage shows two robbers entering a store, clearly expecting an easy score. But the situation took an unexpected turn almost immediately. Instead of backing down, the store owner stood his ground and confronted the threat with calm confidence. The sudden resistance caught the suspects completely off guard. Within seconds, their plan collapsed. The two robbers spun around and ran out of the store in sheer panic, fleeing so fast they nearly left their shoes behind. Shaken and terrified, they escaped without daring to look back. Two men spotted a woman walking alone and immediately rushed toward her, snatching her handbag before attempting to flee. However, their escape was short-lived. Police officers in the area responded quickly, pursued the suspects, and apprehended them within a short distance. A prompt police reaction brought the incident to an immediate end. A terrifying situation unfolded when a thief broke into the home of a young woman, attempting to steal her television. The crime took a dangerous turn when the homeowner unexpectedly discovered the intruder, prompting him to pursue her as she tried to escape. At the critical moment, help came from an unexpected hero. The woman's loyal dog reacted instantly, placing itself between its owner and the threat. With fearless determination, the animal intervened, forcing the intruder to retreat and preventing the situation from escalating further. The dramatic encounter highlights the powerful bond between humans and their pets, and how instinct and loyalty can make all the difference when danger strikes without warning. A dramatic armed robbery attempt was brought to a swift end at the Cisa supermarket in Modugno, Italy, after police arrested two suspects at the scene. According to authorities, the suspects entered the supermarket wearing masks and threatened cashiers and customers with what was later confirmed to be a fake firearm, demanding cash from the registers. Outside, an accomplice's motorcycle was left running, signaling a planned quick escape. Patrolling officers noticed the suspicious motorcycle and immediately moved to investigate. Their rapid response caught the robbers off guard just as they attempted to flee. Police successfully subdued and arrested both suspects without injuries. All stolen cash was recovered, and the fake weapon was seized as evidence. The two men are now being held in custody, pending further legal proceedings. Bogota, Colombia. A robbery in the Tabora neighborhood has renewed concerns over public safety after a man commuting to work by bicycle was surrounded by three suspects. According to reports, the victim was threatened and cornered by the group while riding through the area. In a moment of desperation, he acted to defend himself by drawing a personal weapon, forcing the suspects to back off and allowing him to break free from immediate danger. However, despite stopping the attack from escalating further, the man was unable to save his bicycle. The suspects quickly seized the bike and fled the scene. An attempted armed robbery was stopped within seconds thanks to the store owner's alertness and decisive reaction. The incident began when the owner noticed a masked individual behaving suspiciously inside the store. Sensing potential danger, he ordered the man to remove his mask. When the suspect ignored the command, the situation escalated. The owner immediately drew his firearm in self-defense. The response was enough to change everything. Caught off guard, the would-be robber panicked and fled the store at once, abandoning the attempt. No shots were fired, and no one was injured. The incident highlights how awareness and quick decision-making can prevent a dangerous situation. Isidro Casanova, Argentina. A robbery attempt outside a residence ended without serious consequences after a former federal police officer reacted quickly to an ambush by two suspects on a motorcycle. Authorities say the incident occurred as the man arrived home and stopped his vehicle. The suspects approached at close range and attempted to carry out the attack, prompting the former officer to immediately draw his weapon in self-defense. Security experts note that the man's prior law enforcement experience, situational awareness, and psychological preparedness were key factors in his ability to respond effectively under pressure. While the victim avoided serious harm, the case has reignited concerns over public safety in the area. Residents report that motorcycle-related crimes have become increasingly common, with the sound of approaching engines often triggering fear. A suspected shoplifter attempting to steal alcohol in Peterborough was apprehended on the spot by authorities. Surveillance camera tracking played a key role, allowing officers to monitor the suspect's movements and intercept him for a search. Police confiscated several items, including a mobile phone and other suspicious goods, before carrying out formal arrest procedures. The individual was then informed of his legal rights and the potential consequences he may face in court. The case provides a concise look at how law enforcement responds to incidents involving public order offenses. What began as an ordinary day at the bakery quickly took a sharp turn when a man in a red shirt walked in, casually pretending to browse. Without warning, he lunged for the cash register, hoping to grab the money and disappear. But the plan unraveled instantly. Employees and nearby customers reacted as one, refusing to let the theft succeed. In a matter of seconds, the would-be robber was overwhelmed, his escape cut short by swift teamwork and decisive action. The incident ended with the suspect subdued and the bakery returning to calm. A robbery attempt ended almost as soon as it began, when a man rushed into a store carrying a long firearm and appeared ready to threaten those inside. However, the situation shifted instantly. Behind the counter, the clerk calmly drew a .38 caliber pistol and aimed it at the intruder. The show of resolve was enough. The robber froze, his confidence evaporating in seconds. Without a word, he turned around and ran straight out of the store, fleeing in panic and leaving the robbery unfinished. No shots were fired and no one was injured, an outcome that underscored how composure and quick reaction can stop a dangerous situation before it escalates. It was a surreal scene that looked more like a movie than real life. A man wearing a bright, colorful dress burst into a restaurant, brandishing a gun and demanding cash from the cashier. When the cashier refused, the robber pushed into the kitchen, shouting threats and repeating his demands. Fearing for their safety, staff handed over a small amount of money in an attempt to defuse the situation. The suspect crouched down, hurriedly collecting every bill, determined not to leave anything behind. Moments later, he walked out confidently, convinced he had succeeded. That confidence didn't last long. Police arrived almost immediately, intercepting and arresting him before anyone was harmed. His reckless actions and his misguided disguise ultimately led him straight to jail, turning a brief moment of chaos into a swift lesson in consequences.
anything in his hand. Let me see. Get down. Don't move. Don't move. Don't move. You're gonna get tased again. Don't move. You're gonna get tased again. Do not move. Get your hands behind your back.
You shot me, I'm shot.
No, you're not.
Shot fired. You shot me.
In a remarkably swift operation, a group of thieves managed to steal a cow in under 2 minutes. The incident, captured on video, shows how quickly and methodically the suspects acted, leaving little time for anyone nearby to react. Authorities are now reviewing the footage to identify the individuals involved and determine how the theft was carried out so efficiently. The case highlights the need for increased vigilance in rural areas where livestock thefts continue to pose a challenge for local communities.